I think it's like 9:30. We'll do an update video. Boy, a few days ago, I didn't feel as good as I do now. People who've done this, I guess, are like, oh, it's easy, but I didn't feel exactly that way. Well, and see, like, look at all these wires. I mean, you've got your Dakota Digital, the little BIM box, and then the Terminator X Max, all right here. Now, I will put a metal plate or something in between the Dakota Digital and those wires, but there's no way you can hide that up in here with Vintage Air. I mean, somebody may have done it, and more power to you if you did. But with the Terminator X Max, I mean, even look how much cable they gave me. I mean, that's wrapped up to get it the way it is. We took that plate off and went through it, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna just zip tie those as tight as we can in the middle there, and then probably cut that plate in half and put half of it on, and put insulation in between it. I'm gonna leave all this stuff here, and I'm gonna have a console built and where we can actually access it rather than be underneath the dash all the time. The Dakota Digital and Terminator X, if you got to mess with it. I will run the handheld, right there it is, into the glove box, and then the switch for the Dakota Digital, I'll run it into the glove box. It was a job with this wiring. We had it wired several years ago with like a cheap, I don't know, Speedway or something wiring harness. And a lot of them are marked, but a lot of them were just spliced into. That was really my biggest dilemma, was figuring out the wires. I haven't put power to it tonight because Daddy's not here or nothing, and I just want somebody here to listen when I put the battery cable on. But everything right now is plugged in except for the brake power to the transmission. To the gas pedal. So there's the pedal. We still got to put it in. So, I mean, I could probably put juice to it, but I just don't want to. Unless I'm insane, for the first time ever, our Holley Terminator X kit did not have the injector's wiring harness, and there is not a clock with the Dakota Digital. So I went ahead and ordered the Holley wiring thinking, well, maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, with the Dakota Digital, it says on this paper, it should be here. There's even a box. There's no clock inside the box. The wires, everything's there. So I'm gonna actually message them on that. Maybe it says packaged by JLH. Maybe when we do JLH, whoever that is, be like, I knew I, forgot a clock in one of them. On the Holley, like I said, that was like 140 bucks. It's just gone. The only reason why I'm not messaging them yet is because, we did have the motor over there, then we had it over here, and then we had it over here. So maybe in all this chaos, although we've searched, it's somewhere. But in the front here, I ordered the intake, breather, whatever it be, right here to go, like the cold air intake, from Blueprint. So that'll plug into that. The fuel, I'll get to it in a second. We've got to put the wiper motor back up, but that's no problem. We just can't find the bolts. I'm going to have to order, I guess, another brake booster, a little smaller one. They even say they make a adapter plate that slides it over. We could go without, power brakes, but we'll have to crack open those lines in because that ain't going to bend that far back. And I really don't want to have to do that, but we may have to. So in the front here, all of these that we're using are plugged in. There's the one for the pedal, the map. There's the injector ones that we couldn't find. Had to buy an adapter for the oil sensor. But we've got it in, got it ground. Before we can even start to fire it up, though, of course, we need the radiator. Waiting on it, but we got to prime it still, fill it with oil. Let's see. There's the Dakota Digital, new. I mean, it looks just like an old one till you turn it on, I guess. Like I said, there's all the wiring. These wires here are still, well, that's the steering column, and then the buzzer that comes with the Dakota Digital, and then that brake line. With doing a console here and wanting to access it, I ordered a steering column, shift column. Yeah, so there's that one. So on the fuel pump, so I mean, I could go on about the problems we've run into, but I mean, everybody who's done an LS is going to experience the same thing. Holley, recommends this Corvette style internal regulated one. Well, that's great if you're using the factory fuel, but if you're, the fuel tank. But if you're not, we have a 25 gallon, it's nowhere near as deep. So I had to order a different pump that I just put in a couple hours ago. And then there's the sending unit beside it. So the next plan is to push the car on the lift. We'll put the fuel tank in. I've got all the new, I don't even know where I set them now. Oh, right here. All the new fuel line, AN fittings for it, all that stuff. Instead of running a return from the front, we'll just run the fuel damper right outside of it. Got two of them right now. This one come with it. Yep. There's the wires that I've got to hook up still. Green is for the fuel pump, the sending unit's over there, and then some power wires that you're supposed to run straight to the battery for the Terminator. There's the new steering column. I've ordered, I don't want to just splice this in, so I ordered a adapter that I'll put all those wires in, because the one that came with that cheaper kit was just a little square right there. So yeah, like I said, the issues, the wiring really, I put the old steering column in, the blinkers wouldn't work, but I could wire away from the steering column and the blinkers would, light up. So it was just the column was bad. Have a buddy in Idaho named Eric, who's a magician on wiring, called him up. We used the voltmeter thing, checked this, and there just wasn't a circuit between it. So that switch in there went bad, which wouldn't have mattered anyways. We're ordering a new one. Then I couldn't find my dash lights to use. I was going to use power for this, for the dimmers. Well, it's because that, I don't even know what it's called. Whatever your dimmer is on the headlight switch is bad. So I got to get a new one of those. The headlight switch, that is. Yeah, but again, there it is. Some of y'all that have done these are probably like, oh, you could have made that fit up in there, but that's a lot. I just don't know how you would have with the vintage air and then the hoses and all. I just don't know how I could have. So again, I think I'm just repeating myself. We're gonna push it on the lift, do the fuel and the lines. I've ordered some headers. There it says they're back ordered, but they're supposed to be in within like 7 days. So Lord willing, that's true. But even talking now reminds me I need to get online and find the brake booster. I'll hook those back up. The Terminator will run the fans. We've got the radiator ordered. It was already supposed to be here like a month and a half ago, and it's still not here. Yeah, the white car is down at Daddy's shop. Been wet sanding it. He's unpainted the inner fenders. There's the white the car is going to be right there. Let's see if I can come around this way. Yep, there's the white the car will be. I have to be careful with the inner fenders and the firewall, leaning in there, putting everything together. But the blue 65 truck, blue and white truck's over at Mr. Morgan's house. There's the motor still for it. But we went over there today and took some fenders off, and he's already got the rockers. I got a picture of it. I need to maybe post it. But all right, well, that's where we're at so far. So get some of that stuff tidied up, and it may not be far before we can try to fire it up. I'm not going to put everything back together until it fires up, because if not, then we'll know I did something wrong with my wiring or something like that. So, all right, well, that's probably the longest video I've ever made on an update.